Man was popping. We are at it. The godlike among the godless. The picture of there was some Turkish dude a couple hundred years ago. He was somewhere close to 15 feet tall. He was obviously you can see he was a giant, or some kind of giant, I should say. And it's not about him, but it's about the concept of the godlike being among truly godless people. And how they have to contend every day in a world like that where they're doing their very best to uphold the divinity that is life eternal by posterity, which is continuity, which is eternal longevity, because you don't, even if you pass away in your vessel, your children are to keep you alive. This is something that has been understood since procreation or copulation has been understood. So I'm not trying to bring anybody's day down because this is not what this is about. This is about just reminding you that you are among a bunch of godless individuals. Let me use something that really brought me to this whole lesson. I was thinking about that quote from Larry Bird, and he was talking about Michael Jordan, right? And at first, I was like, "Man, he's just blaspheming, calling Michael Jordan God in the flesh, and whoop 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 whoop." Whoop. Pretty much if God wore tennis shoes, he played against him today. I ain't like that. I still don't like that. But I was able to take from that and really get to this lesson. I said, Meech, I said, you know what? There's a beautiful thing in this. Let's pluck it out. Now, how not ironic that the godless individual who spoke that, his daughter would become a homosexual. Now, I don't know if that's the irony of the universe or if that's how he raised his daughter to be or what. But a godless individual spoke some godlessness, and godlessness continued to reign in his life. I'm not trying to protect Michael Jordan on any level, way, shape, or form. The man should be giving away those shoes, but he can't. When you're too tied in with the powers that be, you can only make so many moves. You only have so much agency. I told y'all that freedom stuff overrated, way overrated. I'll say it if they don't say it. Point being this: have you ever been in a situation where not something tragic, but something unfortunate happens, and you're the only person to respond immediately because we have to tackle this right now? Give you guys a prime example. I'm sure we've all had this happen in our lives at least once. Somebody will break glass. The first thing you do is think of a way is to get the glass from being a potential hazard to anyone else. So you either get the instruments you need to get the glass up, or you put some protection on your hands and you remove the glass. It just depends on how it breaks, all those different circumstances. La di da, la di da. Now, you have individuals, because they're godless, they don't understand anything. When they see it happen and they're in the situation, they're almost like party on. And anybody who's lived more than 10 years on this earth has probably seen something like that, where people do something and they're just like, oh, we all know it's right there. We won't mess with it. But you don't know what the universe, you don't know what the heavens, what the divines have in store for you. You just don't. So what happens is a lot of the time, and I'm just using the glass left on the ground or left somewhere as an analogy. Somebody steps on it, cuts themselves. Somebody drives their car tire over it, pops their tire, right? Old lady slips and falls in it. Young baby slips and falls in it, cuts a major parts of their bodies up, right? Things like that. Nothing good comes from this. The godless don't respond to a potential threat, no matter how harmless it may seem, the way the godlike do. See, this is why I don't blame individuals for being seen as tyrants when once they're removed from the scenario, everything becomes worse. Prime example, Saddam Hussein. Once he was murder assassinated, found guilty of war crimes, obviously, but murder assassinated. Once he was hung, what's up, bro? The immediate destabilization of an entire region of the earth began to unfold. I need y'all to understand this. Do you think Saddam would have let the Saudis just murk the Yemenis out like that? Come on. This is why they're talking about, oh, Iran's a bad actor. There's no other nation state in the region that can help with that situation. They're not anybody with any kind of good sense. If you have an air force versus people who don't have an air force, no matter what they're doing, you should be winning that conflict hand over fist, and you should already have them in control. But when you're trying to slowly genocide them out, starve them out, famine them out, I can't go for that. I can't watch that. You're talking about women and children. Right. Little itty bitty babies. Right. Saddam was so bad, but once again, though, let's just call it for what it was. He was godlike among the godless. Just because you don't believe what somebody else believes doesn't mean that they can't exude certain qualities of righteousness. That's like, I know that they've been touched by the heavens. They didn't answer the call that they probably should have answered. But they know better. They know that the Most High God created the heavens and the earth. They know this. They like to come to their own conclusions or whatever based on the harsh reality that they're forced to live in. But obviously he was godlike because guess what? Once he was dead, look what happened. Muammar Gaddafi, another individual. Don't worry, we're going to work our way back to American soil. Godlike people who didn't make it, right? And once they were removed from the earth in violent fashion, things happened, not for the best. Once they murdered Muammar Gaddafi, I need y'all to understand this. Libya has been on fire since. It's been on complete. It's a terrible place to be. It was one of the most prosperous so-called African nations while he yet lived. That's godlike. That is. Especially when you're doing it among all the godless individuals that you have to navigate around. Right. So when we get back to our own people, and I just break it down, I'm gonna use two individuals who are in belief structure are diametrically opposed. And then I'll break it down how the ideologies of what they believe are just totally different. I'm gonna use Malcolm X first, Malcolm Little. I'm gonna honor him by giving he don't want to be called little, but bruh, that's the name you had when you was born, player. Right. Why be mad about it? You should have worn that as this is what they made me, this is who they wanted me to be. Anyhow, murdered him out, right? Understand, he was godlike. To the nation of Islam, he was godlike. Their numbers were never greater before him, have never been the same after him. Right. That is the impact that a person who is godlike amongst the godless has. Now, people say, well, Meech, you say he's a Muslim and you don't really, that's not, I don't lean towards that line of understanding. Because the guy I'm about to use right now, Martin Luther King. Now, he's supposed to be a Christian. Now, the tug of war on what they really believe starts with, do you really believe in the laws of Moses? And if you do, then that means that you believe that people are supposed to be circumcised, men child, by 8 days. Whereas the people who follow Islam believe that a man child shouldn't be circumcised until he's 14. Those two things are diametrically opposed. Like literally, they can't coexist together. So because that's the case, just on that level alone, I don't have to even get carried away. Just on that level alone, totally different. And I do believe that Dr. King knew that the first five books, that the laws of Moses were to be kept. I do believe this. Do I believe that he tended to every single one of those ordinances? I can't be sure of that, but I'm going to speak to that. These two men were godlike among the godless. Cost them everything that they had, was going to have. It cost them. I need y'all to understand. If you are going to be godlike among the godless, it's not pretty. It's not pretty. Because eventually a demon is going to try you. And you're going to have to either be overtly willing to defend yourself. How many demons are you worth? Right. Do you even value the life of a demon? Does a demon have a soul to you? And I'm not talking crazy right now. I'm throwing that out there so you can really embrace that. Uh, Just, just get this for a second. How is it that we have people, I'll use a guy like Shaquille O'Neal. I love Shaquille O'Neal. That's my guy. Even though I know he's not an Israelite, still my guy. Right on? Oh, he's some kind of Philistine or Assyrian, Chaldean, something like that. No doubts about it. No doubts about it. With a little bit of that genetic, child of Enoch type of stuff going on, son of Og, all those types of dudes. Yeah. Because all of them didn't die. So they gotta come from somewhere, right? It's the same thing. Being godlike among the godless. See, the reason why giants could take over villages, I'm gonna give y'all some game. This is cold. People say, "Oh, giants are the telepathy and this, and this." Move all that to the side. A giant could just do more than a regular person, achieve more than a regular person physically. When they were fully coordinated, yes, they could. So something that is feeding you every day, it does all the hunting, right? It fights most of the wars. It's able to combat hundreds of men all by itself, right? All by these, I mean, hundreds of men being a whole bunch of farmers and you know, angry cowpunchers and stuff like that who arm themselves, but they're no match for a trained individual. We all know this. So when you have these concepts where this giant is now living in the midst of the people, but he's taking care of these people, he's godlike to them, right? They may even begin to worship this individual. They're not supposed to do that now. See what I'm saying? But this is what makes those giants godless, because as opposed to telling the people don't do that, they allowed that sort of praise to come upon them. That's where it differs. And this is why I don't typically uh go out of my way to make it to where people who are already large statured, who get this unnormal amount of attention for nothing, for really being an abomination and a freak of nature, if we want to get to the nitty grit. And I'm not going to sit here and pat them on the back any more than what they already get. Every sport, even baseball, is dictate to freaks and natures. Your pitchers are normally very tall individuals. Okay, every once in a while you have somebody who will who will get outside of the mold of a regular height pitcher, but them dudes are normally over 6'3". A lot of pitchers are tall. A lot of pitchers are really tall, really big dudes. It's just what it is. Right, freak of nature. They're not normal. But that's why they're being asked to do the job that they're able, because they have the ability to generate the force to do those things. Not that a person my height couldn't, but I couldn't do it to the degree that they're doing it because they're already taller than me. So it would force what I would have to do to get the same thing, I'd have to try that much harder. Right. They don't have to try that much harder. They can already naturally do this thing. It's like me getting low. I can already get low. They have to try to get low. I can naturally already do that. Right. Even though the dichotomy, the stark contrast is pretty clear, it's just so everybody understands. I'm not here to worship those dudes or to praise those dudes. They get no love like that from I. I'm here to talk about the real godlike people among the godless. Every time you go and you do something for somebody that you don't know, that you don't owe anything to, like no debt is owed, you don't you don't have a rapport or relationship with them, so you don't feel like the generosity is really truly necessary, but you do that, that's a godlike thing. Right on. I was taught a blessing is an undeserved gift. Every day I'm blessed, every moment I'm blessed because I don't deserve the gift of life. I didn't put anything on earth. Right on? I forgot. The only skin in the game is the skin I'm wearing. I, that's the truth. I didn't put anybody who can say whatever and fix their two lips to sound however is somebody who's out of touch. Believe that. Because they didn't put nothing up on the earth. They can feel however they want to feel. Only the godless feel as if their contributions really truly matter. Talking about like they feel like what they're doing is making the earth a better place, even though every day we see it get worse. The godlike understand there's only so much I can do right now. The godless got their time. Their day is coming. The day for the godless to get their comeuppance and their reckoning is on the horizon. You know who was godlike among the godless? Abe Lincoln. People talk all this bullshit about him. But what's funny is that he didn't get emotional about the situation with slaves. He didn't do any of that. Right. He was objective and said if I could keep it, right? And keep the union, we would do that. If I could end it and keep the union intact, we would do that. But it's these dudes they're willing to fight because that's their way of life. Right. Right. He was most definitely godlike among the godless. People forget that he was, you know, smeared for even being sympathetic and empathetic to the plight of the black man, woman, and child, vis-a-vis through an individual like Frederick Douglass, who stayed tugging his coattail. I don't know if people understand this. That's godlike. When you're in a place where everybody pretty much agrees that these individuals are not people and they don't have souls, they don't have feeling, you can do whatever you want to them. It doesn't matter. Even though, even though uh the sole beneficiaries of this enterprise would see a complete range of emotions and feelings expressed by these same said individuals that they themselves seemingly never felt. Right. I, they make it seem like it wasn't heroic for the man to get broken in front of everybody. That dude's a hero. Whether y'all understand it or not, he didn't run away. He was defiant to the end. His defiance was supposed to unlock the defiance of somebody else and say, y'all remember? Y'all remember Thaddeus? Yeah, we got to do something for him. We ain't gonna run away. We ain't gonna rebel or nothing. We gonna buy our freedom up out this place. So they can't ever come for us. These guys are scared. They don't know. Them slaves who were murdered in front of their children, only for their children to still be alive to this day because they weren't derelict. Salute to all those brothers and sisters. They were the godlike among the godless. Some of those godless individuals, yes, have fall through the cracks, have fell through the cracks, and yes, their seed to this day is still on this earth. But some of those godless ones, oh yeah, some of them. Some of them wipe their own selves out without even thinking about it or trying. That's the fact. This be the truth. You can choose to be godlike every day, every moment of the day. At least in the moments where you know that you are in control of all your actions. You have complete agency to practice. You can be godlike in all those moments. And the more you perfect your understanding of a godlike and a righteous person, heavenly type of person, the more you're going to see the hate for the righteous come out towards you. It's inevitable. The righteous tell the truth. The righteous only allow for unrighteous things to be spoken for so long before they rebuttal. There's no need to retort. We respond, we rebuttal. You know what I'm saying? A retort is almost like a quip, almost like being a smartass. A rebuttal is a well thought of response, a counter argument to whatever. And it might not even be a counter argument. It might just be an objective point of view that differs from the initial point made. It all just depends. This is my definition. Webster will give you another one. I'm giving you my definition based on how I've seen these words played out, how I've seen them used, and the actual actionable cause of when they're used and how they're supposed to be used. We don't react, we respond. We never react. That's the job of a professional. That's the job of somebody who is working on being godlike, godly, in the midst of all the godless, the fornicators, the haters, the sinners, the blasphemers. That's right, the sorcerers, the witches, the mages, the warlocks, the necromancers, all of them. That's right. The self-proclaimed gods, them too. They're all godless because they don't worship the Most High God. They don't say that I have no power to do anything other than what He allows me to do. Am I in charge of my decisions that I make that could prolong my time in this vessel or shorten it greatly? Surely I have enough agency again to go out and do these things. But it is incumbent upon Him to release that perpetual, forever God energy that only He possesses. That is the God particle. That is why life continues to flow. Come on, the ultimate form of radiation. Can't tell y'all a whole lot about these crazy things that go on in my mind. They'll want to know the biblical foundation for all of it. Sometimes they just got to understand it's not deeper than what's on the page. But if we can't keep the laws on the page, what does what I'm about to say matter at all? You can't even keep the laws. Right. Real hit it talk. Y'all know I ain't never lied. Come on. The radiant Most High God. The most radiant Most High God. He is that. He radiates energy. That's what He is. And I get a little piece of that each and every moment, and so do you. The godlike appreciate, know, acknowledge, understand it, and accept it. That is our lot. The godless will continue to believe that they are in charge of all their own destiny, but they can't even go manufacture their own crude oil. They don't have their own acres of rubber trees. Right. Gum trees, just in case y'all didn't, just in case you know them differently. They don't have access to iron mines or anything like that. They don't have, you know what I'm saying? But yet they think they're free and they have choices. They believe they have choices. The illusion of the choice is one of the most dangerous things they've ever done. The ability that you believe you can't just, you can't go and go get the materials to build your own car because they have the molds for it. So that way you can build your own chassis and all that, making real engineers out of everybody. No, that be, oh no, that would be far too thoughtful. Right. But yet they want you and I to believe what they've told us is the only way. There's a reason why there's a reason why you see so many individuals who have it look so sad because they gave up all their godliness, all their godlike ways. They surrendered them to get to where they're at. Now they're just another godless individual trying to get back to the Most High God any way they think they can. That's the sad thing right there. I remember when I was really all the way in the mud, right? Just out there. And I'm trying to tell y'all, man, I was a different dude 10 years ago, 11 years ago. Was always intelligent, was always quick. But I wasn't always righteous about everything that I was doing. And I've told this many a times. There was a sister, she was like, "Man, you're a Hebrew Israelite." And I was like, "Man, I'm a nigga." Word, I'll never forget it. I was like, "I'm a nigga." So I know that there's still a bunch of people who were still caught in the, man, I'm just a nigga, bro. They don't want to hear past that. Well, yeah, use a nig to the society, but you could easily be a Philistine or an Egyptian. You could easily be a Hebrew. You could really be an Israelite. Even if you're not an Israelite, you could be an Ishmaelite, a Moabite, an Edomite. Job was an Edomite. Why can't you be righteous? They don't want me to get down with it because I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't have no need to lie to you. I love the Christ with all my heart and soul, but I just love his father that much more. Sure do. Sorry, bro. It's how you got to go about it. The godlike understand the appreciation for the Christ of the Most High God, and that you should love him like you love an older brother, your revered elder brother. You know what? You know what I'm talking about? Like anybody who respected and loved their elder brother or had one growing up knows what I'm talking about. Or had an elder cousin that was likened to your elder brother. It's always somebody. And anybody who knows that feeling knows what I'm talking about. In the real tears of life, it goes, God, I'm talking about how people understand life. It goes, God, then their earthly father, their earthly mother, then their firstborn, if they're not the firstborn. Some people will swap out the firstborn for the mother, but if we're going to be righteous, your firstborn brother does not supersede your mother. Right on? He only takes that spot if your father uh, has a untimely demise. Still having said that, that's the normal hierarchy. That's regular. Right. The godlike accept this. You don't have to capitulate if you already get it. Right. You don't have to surrender nothing if it was already gave. You get what I'm saying? The Most High God doesn't take from you if you're going to give it to him anyway. He's like, wow, right. You're willing to give me your life. I can sense it, I can feel it. He's like, I have to talk you off the ledge. He's like, so stay your hand. Because he loves you that much. I seen an article earlier today about some young brother who was the DJ to Ellen DeGeneres, 40 years young, killed himself. Like to burst into tears right when I seen it. Looked at the brother, I said, man, I said, that could have been my kinfolk. Hurt, it just hurt me. Been seeing a lot of people I know pass away lately, and I've just been seeing a lot of black people die lately. And I don't know, it just stung me really hard. It just hurt me. And I just was like, man, shake it off. It's gonna be all right. This is just part of what we have to go through. We have to witness it and understand it. That man was in a situation so untenable at 40 years young that he felt that he couldn't walk away and he felt that there was no change in it. So the only way I can do anything is I have to make a premature exit on the earth. That, my brothers and sisters, is unacceptable. Completely. Thou shalt not kill. One of these days, man, people gonna understand this shit is real. This you don't get. Uh, I, I'm so sorry to hear that, bro. Way too young. Way too young. People don't know, man. It's tough. But you down there doing what a person who is godly, godlike is supposed to do, though. You carry on. You're aware you are in and among those that would harm you, not to gain from you, but just to say that they harmed you. The godly, the godlike, you brothers and sisters, you guys need to really understand what's going on right now. It ain't nothing good. You know what a godlike person does? A godlike person takes the time to do the research to see exactly what days the full moon fell on for the last few years. So that way, when they start to see the days change again, we can start to formulate how many days in a year we're really off. Because it's more than 5 days, y'all. It's deep. We're there. We're right there. We're right there. I really have a feeling that when I start to expose one more time how there is a cabal of bankers who are actually not Jewish, but they are Khazarian by blood. And they actually do, through their own historical annotations, have revealed and been honest that they have been in charge of virtually all the financial institutions of every country they've been allowed into and ingratiated into every society that they've been a part of. So they've always controlled some form of the money for a very long time. And I can prove that these individuals were written down as seditious, warlike people at one point in time. Yep, the same sort of seditious, warlike nature that they have right now in the place that they call Israel and the surrounding areas. Right. I can prove all these things. I've already proved it before, but I'm going to just show the people again. This is what you're dealing with. It's not an attack. It's not anti-Semitic to say anything like that. The Khazar is not a Semite. Right. They can't even tell you exactly where they came from. I know where you came from, Mr. and Mrs. and little Khazar. I know where y'all came from. The question is are you willing to accept that you're not who you think you are? Right. I The godlike are the blessed men. When I say blessed to blessed, if you think having a bunch of money, okay, let me give y'all a prime example. Steph Curry and Shaq are gonna go down as some of the greatest NBA players ever. And they're gonna go down as a couple of pieces of shit who help fuck up people's money. Wow. And all the other NBA famous stars, all those people. Right. Sam Bankman Fried or Sam Bankman Fried, whatever that little bastard's name is. They said he's looking at 115 years if he's convicted. I'm just like, why not just give this dude a bunch of lashes and just whip him to death? I don't get it. Millions of people. This dude is worse than Bernie Madoff. This dude is worse than Bernie Madoff. Think about that. Right. This is the this is the society that we live in. That motherfucker is godless. You know what would have been godlike though? Is had they in the Bahamas when they was arresting him, somebody's pistol just misfired out of nowhere, struck him in his face. That would have been godlike. And for whatever reason, we can't find out who did it. That would have been godlike. That's brought to justice. Because unless you're gonna make that motherfucker turn big rocks into dust for the rest of his fucking life, they should that piece of shit should have to have babies with the little funny looking chick who they're still looking for. They should force their fucking children into slavery forever. How about that? That's godlike. They squandered people's life savings. And no one's calling for blood. That's godless. How do you mean? Because when you take away somebody's ability to provide for themselves, how many crimes do you think have been committed on the back of that shit alone? Right. How many already? How many people you think have been killed themselves? The blood that is on their hands. And they're talking about having this guy come forward to a hearing at for what? For what? You got stupid ass motherfuckers who will say shit like an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. Bitch, you don't believe in the most high God then. You believe in a shitty ass atheist Indian who on his deathbed didn't know what the fuck was going to happen to him because he spent his whole life disbelieving. And you want me to believe him over my God? Well, my God said an eye for an eye contends for when a master plucked out his servant's eye to let him go free for his eye's sake. Or if he struck out one of his teeth to let him go for his tooth's sake. No? The fuck these dudes be talking about? Niggas be tripping. I'm not on no high horse. So I don't need to get on one. Today is one of those, yeah, right? We back in the mud. You are the godlike among the godless. You had better start seeing the stuff like this, but you got a mark on you. You got a highlight marker on you, brothers and sisters. Highlight yellow, highlight green, highlight cyan, highlight magenta. Yeah, your shit is highlighted. They know who you are when they see you. They can smell it on you. They say, yeah, this nigga look like he might do the right thing. Let me not do no bullshit around him. Or her. When I say the right thing, I ain't talking about pulling out a gun and shoot nobody. I'm talking about making it to where my presence, you don't know what I'm going to do, but you'll find out. These dudes be too scared of their own shadows, man. Once again, these guys are so scared of their own shadows. Let me just tell y'all some real life, once again, the real life game, how it's really supposed to work, how it's really supposed to go. These cats are so afraid of their own spectral being. That's what your shadow is. It's a spectral part of you. That's why it's cast off of you. Nothing without true physical mass can cast a shadow. Just in case y'all didn't know that. Does a shadow not provide cover and shade? Okay, then. It's something, it exists. If y'all really believe that what you've been seeing is normal activity and justice has been served in your life, something wrong with y'all. Straight up. You should know, being who you are, having made it thus far into your life, they want to cultivate out of you what it is that they could never have in themselves. It's on you, brothers and sisters, to do the most godlike thing in the midst of the godless. And that's to call on the Lord of glory. That's to pray for the blood of the righteous that has been slain and has gone unaccounted for. It's to pray that when judgment come, it come for all and not just for one, not just for many, but for all. The Most High God knows your heart. He knows your soul. He knows your intention. He doesn't need you to tell him how you feel. But if you express it to him and let it be known that this is what I desire more than anything else, and you say, devil, get behind me, get away from me. I desire this thing more than all others. He will give that to you. Not because he has no choice, but because he's been waiting for this moment for as long as he's been waiting. He's been waiting for this moment. I dare say all his life too. This is my first time ever knowing of the Most High God. This is my first life ever that I know about. Right. So, right. He's waiting for this moment. He can't wait. He's already seen it. He just can't wait for it, y'all. I mean, he can wait, obviously, because he's not just showing up out of nowhere. But I would assume he's anticipating it just like the people down here who want to see him come back the most do. But it has to be done in righteous order. The godlike understand there are rules to divinity. There's a reason why those sacrifices, like Brother Wickham will say, back in the day when we used to talk about this, and it used to be more biblical stuff. I'll probably have to get back into that. And probably have to do a lesson on that, on the tangible uh results of sacrificing. And they got something from it. It wasn't just burning up your babies. Like there was some physical, tangible substance that would be gained or received in the latter or in the soon thereafter. Right. This is what I'm saying because I agree with that. It's deeper than people think. Give me one moment. It's a setback to get far and then to get nowhere. We've got to get the Most High God involved in this. We have to. That's my ultimate trump. They don't believe in him, y'all. I need you guys to understand this. They don't think he's real. They want to see you manifest yourself as God so they can kill you. That's craziness. Be godlike, brothers and sisters. We are not the creators of heaven and earth. We are not. We're just people. Can you dig it? You can be godly, but you can't be the Most High God. Appreciate it. Just let it be what it is. But don't make it to where all of a sudden, oh, well, Meech. I thought you said if we prayed to him like this, you got to mean it. You got to mean it. When your prayers I don't know if it's going to be 100,000, 1,000, a million. I don't know what the number is. A bill. I don't know I don't know the number. There's a specific number and a specific kind of persons that need to reach out to him. I don't know if it's over a set period of time, but I do believe it should be all at once. Lifting their voice in one accord. That much I do believe. Now, I can't prove anything else because we have yet to get to that point. And I'm not criticizing my ancestors or yours, but they spent a lot of time on their knees praying for a brand new Cadillac, a brand new Buick, a brand new Bentley, and a brand new Rolls Royce, and a house on the hill with a white picket fence. They spent a lot of time. They got the knee pads is all broken. Spent a lot of time doing that. Didn't spend enough time asking for the right things. And like I said, it's got to be the right people asking. This is what makes people believe that the Bible's real. Because he don't just answer anybody's prayers. Yeah. Got to be a reason for that prayer to get answered. Do you really believe or don't you? Or do you just say you believe? Like I said, they want you to manifest yourself as God so they can kill you. They want a whole bunch of black men to say, we are God. You got a gun that the white dude made and you think you're God. Okay. I'm not even going to get carried away on that part, but we all know where I was going with that. I think I'm going to say it's tacit where I was going with that. The tacit understanding, right, is that I was about to say that come on, man. Y'all really don't y'all really don't see the backwardness in that. Cats who y'all claim are your enemies, individuals y'all call y'all enemies, the devil at that. You use an instrument that they created. Tell me who a black gun manufacturer is. Name one. Of all these merchants of death, because that's what they are. They're all going to hell. They know it. They don't care, y'all. They don't. Once again, they told you you weren't a person. They told you you didn't have a soul, but they're not a person, and they don't have a fucking soul. Can you dig it? They've got no thing in the game other than the skin that's on their vessel. The godlike among the godless is it's an ode. It's an ode to the to the to the righteous among the evil. Okay? You know what I'm saying? It's that sort of thing. The light in the dark. It is that. Are you going to be the light in a dark place? Will you? What if I said you don't have a choice and you already are? And they're thinking of ways to snuff out that light. Would you fight to protect your light? Or would you just let them douse you out? You don't have a choice but to protect yourselves at this point. Life is the most crucial combat match. You must protect yourself at all times. It's a fact. Surely. Nobody understands this like me. I've been assaulted, attacked, all kinds of stuff. Unless unless people been through that, they don't know. I get it. It makes sense to me. But what I don't do and what I won't allow myself to do or to fall into the trick of is to believe that just because I can protect myself, that this is the end all be all. Right. Before there was nuclear armament, these black guys could have tried to take it all over, would have got themselves killed. It's like nobody understands. You're not in enough of numbers. You are the smallest group with the weakest shit. Accept it. Even if you have the blessings of God on you, it doesn't matter. Right. Because you have those curses too. So you're not just blessed right now. Anybody that does not live within the curses, like if their whole life is like if your whole life is when we line it up with the curses of the people, if your life doesn't mirror that at all, you're probably realistically not the people. How hard is that? Right. Not that difficult. Not that difficult. The most High God has blessed me to keep living, so I'm going to keep living. I've been blessed. Y'all been blessed. Whether you realize that you've been a godlike person almost your whole life, just to do righteous, to do right by those that may not have done right by you, that puts you above them all time. Doesn't make you weak, doesn't make you a sucker, don't make you no punk, no chump, none of that. No pussy or no pushover. Okay? It don't make you none of that. It don't make you none of that. You got the one up on everybody in life right now, and they know it. When people come around you, there's a reason they give you so much reverence. When people get to being around you, there's a reason they act the way that they do. Sometimes they act stupid because they know that your presence is far greater than anything they've ever felt. Some of y'all don't understand that you have that kind of magnetism, you have that sort of frequency pulsating from your being. Man, woman, child. I don't differentiate massive levels of energy. You either have it or you don't. I met a little boy a couple days ago, bright little boy, very bright. I said, he's special. I said, invest time into him. He is special. I know him when I see him. I know him when I see him. Everybody has a blessing, but some people's blessing, the Most High God, He made sure He hit the mixing bowl for you. Right on, elbow the angel out the way real quick. You don't know what you're doing. Got this. Get all that. Give me my spatula. I need all this out the bowl. Okay? My guy gets all that. We ain't living no dribble drops or nothing. Nah, nah. All that. Bowl needs to be dry perfectly. He gets all his ingredients. She gets all her ingredients. That's how it's supposed to be when you're a certain way. But a sucker butt, somebody who's confused, half-hearted, or just don't believe, they couldn't know the difference between good fortune, come on, and being blessed. They think it's the same thing. It's not the same thing. Right. Because you're blessed every single moment you're here. Right. So how blessed is the dude who's a millionaire who didn't wake up today? Yeah, his finances was better than mine when he went to sleep, but my health is still intact. I'm still here. He's no longer here. Right. That's how that goes. So when you don't have the Constitution up here in your mind and right here in your heart, and then in that governor, that soul, right? It ain't gonna work. You are different from them. They are godless for a reason. Or you think just because uh they're like, oh, we're humanity. We're all one group. We're just humans. Even though I've broken down how that word is a make-believe word that the French of all individuals perpetrated. You'd have to go back and actually watch my channel if you don't know what I'm talking about. But everybody who knows what I know, I gave y'all all the game about the French. We all know about the Francs. We know how they get down. We know how they got down. So when we see that a group of individuals who was speaking cave language, who were taught Latin and were sophisticated by the Romans, once they could no longer cared to upkeep Latin and just changed it to their own thing, took words from the actual Latin language and then created a word so that way they could describe their so-called peoplehood because the real Romans didn't consider them people. That's an objective, that's an objective analysis, observation. It is not a personal opinion. It is just merely based on this is what they presented us with the information, and this is what happened. If you're a person, why make up another word for person? Makes no sense. But if you were never considered to be a person and you sought to rock confusion, right, this is the best way to do it. At that time, they were not on top, but they were one of the uh, world powers, if you will, in that era. Only Spain, Portugal, certain parts of the English Empire were I won't say able to stand up, but were able to withhold. But there was a time when France was undoubtedly the coldest of all of them. But that's because they were direct lineage of Clovis himself. I don't want to get too carried away with that, but still, right on. If we're gonna talk about the godlike among the godless, oh man, we got to talk about Clovis, don't we? Clovis force converted all the Frankish tribes, killed off everybody that wasn't hearing it. Is he godlike or is he godless for forcing onto him? You come to your own conclusions. Oh, this shit is deep. They can't with me, huh? Think they can with me? I'm him. I'm using their information. If they don't like it, they better take the shit off the internet then and redress it so I can find it again later, and then I'll put it out there that way. But I'll still show them that old work. Right. That man force converted entire tribes of people, killed everybody who didn't want to convert, or at least didn't act like they would. Think about that. Ain't nobody talking about the fact that he was partially Romanized. No, I'm not going to talk about the fact that there's a guy named Cornelius in the Bible who didn't want to sit down with Peter because he was like, I'm not circumcised and you are. And Peter's like, oh, don't worry about it. God told me to do it. A major reasoning why people don't think that you need to be circumcised to this day, and the Roman Catholic Church does not enforce circumcision. Deep, huh? See, Cornelius was godlike because he was like, bro, based on your faith, you're not supposed to eat with me. Peter told him, don't worry about it. It's written like that. Then when he got questioned about it, he was like, God told me to do it. Is this not building a church upon a man? He helped those foundations. Without Peter, there is no Catholic Church. And Paul is the linchpin. Paul is the reason why you have homosexuality running rampant in the Catholic Church, and sexual abuse amongst the priests running rampant in the church. Yes. It would be one thing if they were preaching abstinence as opposed to celibacy. They're totally different things. They're fucking diametrically opposed. A person who's abstinent is not like I'm never having sex again. They're like, no, I abstain. So that way I can see what it is that I truly desire. I can learn lust from love type of thing. Whereas the celibate, like Paul's just like, if you're like me, you don't want no woman. What? Now, that's not what he said. I'm paraphrasing. But he might as well have said that. If we're like you, huh? What is that supposed to mean? But once again, like you got a dude who literally was able to make a whole faith off of being totally rebellious to the Most High God. The entire Catholic Church is rebellious to the Most High God. They worship Mary Magdalene. Jesus is their God. They think Mary's the queen of heaven. Wow. Wow. That's that's who we're dealing with here, folks. We're not joking about this. This is freaking serious. And like I said, a dude named Clovis force converted whole tribes of people. Is he godlike or godless? Did he even believe himself in the Christ? But let's just assume he did, right? Let's assume he actually truly believed. He was still wrong to force convert them. Now, he would have been right if the people that he was among were like, well, bro, we all believe what you're saying. Right. We stop eating half cooked meat, we feel better. Dudes aren't giving their sisters and their mothers babies, so there's less genetic dysfunction when they're born. Wow. Being people being born with things that aren't typical, you know, vestigial limbs and the likes. So once you see the tangible effects of the laws of Moses, this is why there was an epic thing for the crusade. Because I don't know if Clovis was truly, I can't say that Clovis was like, yo, I'm with this whole New Testament thing. I think the New Testament was meant to make it to where Gentiles felt like they had inclusion in in the actual prophecy. But a real Gentile would have been able to see the prophecy and been like, well, one day there's going to be a guy who's a light to us anyway. There's going to be somebody who shows us the way anyway. So it doesn't matter. They, they couldn't live with that. Couldn't live with being Gentiles. They can't be Gentiles. We got to be somebody else. Even though you can't even tell us exactly where you come from. Right. Think about this. I'm just trying to give you guys the basic layman game to it. But Clovis, I do believe, thought that the laws of Moses were more proper than not. Remember, they burnt up all the Bibles during the crusade. Burnt every one of them. Killed motherfuckers who had their own all kinds of shit was going down. This is long after Clovis is dead. So even if Clovis kept the tenets to the laws of Moses, that's the only reason why he would have been forced converting people. Paul of Tarsus would have been alive only a few hundred years before that. His tarnished reputation would not have been untarnished that quickly. Couldn't have been. But when you push 900 more years down the line, so now we're over 1,000 years past this dude, and individuals are seeing that, well, Gentiles are not chosen people. Okay, well, now we got to start pushing this New Testament stuff because we got to keep them involved because they don't want to be believing in something where they're not the main characters. At least when they worship their gods acknowledge them as being their main people. They're like, I don't want to be second, third, fourth, fifth. I don't want to be on the bench. I'm trying to be in the game. I can dig it. Only problem is that Clovis is like, yo, our God didn't tell us that sleeping with our siblings and our mother and father was wrong. Aunties and uncles is wrong. Children is wrong. Word. Right. This God did. Our God didn't tell us eating half cooked meat was bad for us or not to do it. This God told us not to do that. And I haven't gotten sick since. Right. Right. At some point, you have to tell yourself objective truths. You can't just lie to yourself all the time. Why do you think some of these dudes really believe God is real? They're like, dude, no other group has a written catalog like this. And it all makes sense. Don't have sex with animals. Now everybody talking about, oh, it's common sense. Bitch, if it was common sense, why you got to tell people that? Right. It's not common sense. And let me repeat myself. And each man did that which was right in his own eyes. Thank you. Thank you very much. We have been the godlike among the godless for I don't know how long. It's been forever and a day. And every day you have to chip away, chip away, chip away at your soul, man. That ain't cool, brothers and sisters. We're better off coming together, realizing, okay, so what, you don't like all the laws of Moses? I like drinking when I'm out and about and hanging out, but it tells me not to do that. So I don't typically do that. But sometimes I shirk that law, but I do my best not to. But I get it. It keeps you away from potential hazardous situations. It makes perfect sense to me. I mean, it makes perfect sense to me. But who am I? I'm just some little scrub dub uh who might have a couple of I might got 2 pennies every once in a while or some good sense. But don't worry, even if I'm just coming with half a penny, I'm still coming with more than these other dudes who come in with nothing. I'm telling y'all what it is. You're here, not there. It's on you. It's not on the godless. There are way more godless individuals than there are godlike people. Some of the godless want to be godlike. They just want to be around the godlike. So maybe one day they're not as godless as that. Maybe they're not even godless. Maybe they're neither godlike nor, you see what I'm saying? Godless. They're like, I'm somewhere in between and I'm working my way to being godlike. It's on you. It's this is literally on your shoulders to make sure that you know that each day when you get up, you ask the Most High God, please put it on the hearts of the chosen. Please put it on the hearts, Father God, of thine necessary, audibly available children that will call upon thy name. All those who will hear him. Blessed be the Most High God, y'all. I mean, people ain't got to come in here and act like I did something. Look, I know what I'm doing in here. Word. I told you this is the continuity of maintenance, right on? Maintain my little self. I'm going to continue to maintain the best that I can. As I get ready to roll out, I just laugh. I said, people don't know me. I'm really looking at the tools and other stuff that I can use, right? And some of them I can't use right now, obviously, but I just feel so blessed to be in my situation because I don't need the things that other people need to feel adequate. Nothing needs to be perfect for me. I just need to have enough. I need enough water, enough food, I just need enough. But even then, if I don't have those things and I know I won't have them, I can turn it off in my mind. This is all societal preconditioning. Most people have never not watched TV for months, not heard the radio for months, nothing. When you're out there in the middle of nowhere, people could tell you anything. Gotta believe it. You don't know. You don't know nothing. See, the God like understand. I take you at face value. I take you for what you say. I don't take you for what I can't see. Right. So we're in a very, 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 very critical junction right now with black people. And this is how I ended out. If you, brothers and sisters, do not realize that the days of your life are more epic now than they ever were before, you've already failed to hear the call of the Most High God. Probably not even called. For all those that I know that the Most High God chose to pick them up out of the earth, know that He sees you as godly and blessed and elect and righteous and holy. And He's just waiting for the day to hear from you and hear your true grievance against the earth and for all the blood that has been shed that no one has done anything about. That He would send the greatest forces that the earth will ever see, that all that is wrong be made right, that all that is crooked be made straight, and all that is broken be made whole. I salute you, brothers and sisters. I salute you again, and I salute you one more time. May tomorrow be better than today, and may your next week be better than your last. Just remember, being godlike does not mean having a God complex.